Greystar is a global property management, investment management firm based out of South Carolina, out of Charleston. They have offices globally. They oversee 800,000 units, so that's under management. And then from an investment management ownership standpoint, 220 units. And I'm tasked with asset management, overseeing the Western US on the owned asset side. So I have a portfolio that covers anywhere from Salt Lake City and west. I like to joke that Smart Rain almost chose us. So I was at a National Apartment Association conference back in 2021, and I see all these guys that are pretty hyped up. They got their Travis Matthews shirt on, wonderful exhibit. And Rudy, the founder, comes out and he says, "I guarantee you I can save you 20 to 30% on your water bills." And being the guy that I am, I wanted a challenge. So I said, challenge accepted. And so I started moving forward and talking with the rest of his team. And we set up a 3 pilot site program with him. And so we set up in 3 different environments, 3 different states, to really see how the Smart Rain product would function and work, and we were pleased with the results. Greystar has the benefit of as large as they are, they get a chance to work with a lot of different vendors from their infancy stage to kind of being a very mature company. Working with Smart Rain, the team that they have assembled, very strong. As we're going through the process, I think we worked closely with them to get some materials together, marketing materials that were top-notch that we could share with our LPs as well as internal stakeholders to really make an impact to try to move the product forward, as well as their service and customer service support. Any request, any question we have, their team is jumping on it right away. An email response or a text back or a phone call back is, within minutes or an hour or so. So from an efficiency standpoint, it has been, tremendous to just try to get things across the finish line. Accessibility to the team has been great. My team is spread all over Western US, but I work with people that are spread all over the country as well as globally. And there's not a time it feels like that we can't reach the team. Very accessible responses. It feels like in real time to get information, which is great for our business, because our business being global in nature, we're getting responses back at all hours of every single day. So having that same sort of customer focus towards us has been really helpful. We did see more than 30% savings on most of the properties right off the bat. We saw a return on cost on average when we analyzed the numbers at a 2x multiple. So it's pretty incredible results, more than we thought. We're almost at 3 million gallons saved in the 6-month period. It really has taken the team back, our innovation team internally, on how quickly we saw these results. We thought we'd have to kind of tinker with the system longer than we need to, but it was a lot of it after the installation took place, the training took place with the on-site team and our landscapers, that I was going to say machine, but the controller really has been self-performing with little to no human interaction. Initially, when we were rolling out Smart Rain, it's just kind of the essence of the building. When we put a new product or service in front of our on-site teams, they're already stretched. There's already a ton that they're trying to do in the number of hours that they have each day. So to put another service, another product in front of them, the initial reaction is, "Oh, we don't have time for this." And I would say that the Smart Rain team was able to jump in and say, "Hey, we'll take care of the installation, we'll work directly with your landscaper, plus we'll train the manager of the property and the service manager of the property so that everyone really knows how this system works. And once it's up and running, you don't really have to touch it, self-performs after that." And a lot of those trainings were 90 minutes long, and the team was fully aware of how to utilize the system. So initially there was a lot of pushback, and then after the team accepted it with Smart Rain's help, it was a success. Yeah, so I am no water expert by any means. I've learned more than I never thought I would about water, ET and some big words there, the MAD acronym. Things I've never would have known. So they come in with this different perspective and knowledge that I'm not necessarily focused on from a day-to-day perspective. So we lean into them very much in terms of their expertise, and having many phone calls with them and knowing that they've surrounded themselves by different water districts. They have a lot of thought leaders behind them, different large landscape companies that they've also leaned into. I feel very confident with their knowledge base. So when I ask them a question and they're able to respond, I can take that information and pass it along as well. So one of the items included in SmartRain's product is the installation. That was the biggest thing for Greystar, was having kind of a turnkey solution, and that was from start to finish. So when this controller is going to be installed, can you just flip it on, or what do we have to do before that to actually get this thing up and running? And one of those key things in the installation process is to do a full site audit. And I would say I'm pretty surprised actually with what the team found. We found upwards of some 28 zones that were switched off, that the landscaper never went back to turn back on. When it wasn't the dry season, or wasn't the wet season anymore, it's the dry season now, and we need that water to come through, and they weren't turned on. And then you had broken pipes that the team was able to identify, where our landscaper, which we would have leaned into typically, had not identified that, but the SmartRain team, with their expertise and the people that they have boots on the ground that they've made connections with, really has identified where those issues were. And once they turned back on those zones, fixed those sprinkler heads, fixed those pipes, irrigation lines, we still saw significant savings. You would think that you turn 28 zones back on and you would probably see your water usage increase significantly, but we actually saw that decrease. And in 2022, a lot of these sites, this was a drier year for them, and we still saw tremendous results. So many of our landscape contractors, when they see a problem, that's when they go and fix it. They're not understanding when there's a zone necessarily turned off accidentally by maybe someone on the property, someone who's visiting the property and started tinkering with the control panel. The SmartRain system, however, is not reactionary. It can see everything that's taking place in real time, or see if there's a flow issue, and they can notify the team proactively and let them know, hey, you should get someone out here because there's an issue that's taking place in zone, name it. Whereas the landscape contractor, kind of back to other examples where we found 28 zones turned off, they're not even seeing that unless they probably see that the landscape is dying, or they just installed new bushes and they're not growing, they're not flourishing. So the SmartRain system will know that instantly, whereas the landscape contractor is trying to figure things out, maybe troubleshoot the system that we have installed now. We don't have to do that as much. So a typical landscaper, they come in there and they service the property, right? They mow the lawns, cut the bushes, they see a broken sprinkler, they fix it. There's really no analytics as to how much water usage, how many plants they're needing to replace on an annual basis. It kind of is as an as-needed basis. Whereas with the SmartRain system and controller, outside of other controllers, is that all of this data feeds into a dashboard that I can go into and see all the properties that are uploaded and get real-time insights of how much water we've saved, how much money we've saved, what zones are turned off, turned on. It really has given us kind of this full picture of our landscape, the watering, the usage. When we're reporting back to our LPs on how we're doing on ESG, we can look at this and point and say, hey, not only are we doing LED lighting, low flow fixtures, EV chargers, we're also focused on landscape watering, and water being a huge resource constantly being used. Look at this data set. This data set is promising. This data set is meaningful, and that we can actually rely on. So I would say that the analytical ability of SmartRain is something that we've really leaned into and embraced.